Hello and welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. This is part 2 of Ambushville. Today we'll be looking at a map called Factory Condition by Richard Greenslade, aka Green Man. This was one of the more enjoyable maps in the pack for me, mainly because it lets you explore around a little bit before anything really happens. You have a little bit of an intro here with your soldier friends. They say that they're going to check out warehouse number 1 and you should go and check out warehouse number 2. You can see they're nicely labelled for you. And it gives you this nice exploratory feel at the beginning. You can have a look around and there's actually a few things to find. For instance, if you look in this dumpster you can find yourself a nice shotgun, which you otherwise wouldn't have access to until you pick it up off of a dead combined soldier, of course. Then of course you can go and explore around all the different warehouses here to pick up some extra supplies. Generally, visually, the map is quite nice. I think some of these areas are perhaps a little dark. It would have been nice to have some perhaps floodlights set up in here. There are a couple of lights inside the buildings like this, but I don't think they really produce enough light. It would have been nice to have some big sweeping shadows cast by some big floodlights set up in the corner or something. There's some nice, just like I mentioned before, exploration to find some extra supplies here. There's some basic puzzle elements to figure out in order to get some of these supplies. This is the first map where I noticed that perhaps the glowing P on the weapon crates and things probably could be toned down a little bit for future competitions perhaps, because it tends to give away the position of lots of pickups. So you can see here, as we enter the second warehouse, the combined scanner detects us. And I believe this is the same every time, so as soon as you come into this warehouse the ambush will trigger. I think that's just how it's set up to go. It's exactly the same thing that happened to me on the first time through as well. So you get a nice bit of ambience here as well. You can hear the Combine 17 Overwatch voice kind of telling the troops to come to this location. This is a really nice thing because you can't actually see anything happening, you just kind of hear Combine APCs moving into position behind the buildings and the various alarms and Overwatch shouts and things like that. It's a nice setup. And then the ambush is sprung. So I like the way the author uses Metrocops at first. It gives the impression that the Combine weren't really expecting this much resistance. And then as soon as this first wave of Metrocops gets taken out, you start seeing the Combine soldiers being deployed. That was a nice little bit of storytelling that I thought worked quite well. I like the way the Combine kind of open up different routes to enter the arena from throughout the fight. So you see here this Combine doors open up at the back here, which soldiers pour out from. There's actually some turrets in there with Metrocops guarding it, so you can't just run up that way. Nice use of APCs blocking exit routes as well, that's kind of nice. Find a Magnum down there. Of course we've got the baby doll model. Luckily it's not used for a horror element in this game, that would have been hilarious. So yeah, the only thing I wasn't really too fond of with the layout here is that it's all completely flat really, there's no kind of second floors or extra levels you can climb up on. It would have been nice to perhaps get up on the roof of the buildings and have a little fight up there. And it makes these Combine dropships a little bit less effective because you can just kind of walk up on them like this. I mean, you could do this in some levels in Half-Life 2 as well. It's a bit of a design oversight, but it's very, very obvious here because they just come out one at a time and you can just kill them like this. Luckily they're coming from two different sides at once, so you can't just spawn camp every single deployment. Which is good. And one thing I would have liked to see is this building in the centre. I would have liked to see it bigger, so that it's more of a line of sight blocker that you can use. Get some more gameplay around it. As it is now, if you're kind of caught out in the centre of the arena, you're pretty much screwed because there's basically no cover. It would have been nice to have some more, even just things like more concrete barricades, stuff like that, deployed that you could use. Hunters here is a nice Nice addition. It's kind of a final wave. So you're kind of torn between spawn camping the Combine dropship as it drops off more troops, or taking care of the hunters. It's a nice choice given to the player. What do you want to do? There's a little bit of bugginess with the dropship there. Luckily I don't think it interferes with any actual gameplay in the map, it's just kind of a visual anomaly. Here's the Metrocops guarding an extra way out. And then once the ambush is complete, you've got a rather annoying citizen just constantly shouting at Gordon to come over to his location so you can end the level. But you know me, I have to explore around a bit first. So this citizen will just constantly spout this line until you go over to him, and this is where the level ends. Of course, after a giant fight with Combine soldiers, what do you want to do? You want to go to the pub. Of course. Unfortunately, the level doesn't quite end here. You have to go back to the menu manually. Alright, part 3 coming soon.